What's happening, party people, fellow patriots, truth seekers, spiritualists, black sheep, anybody who doesn't know what box they fit in? Welcome to Thirst Trap News, because here we don't do boxes. Good to see you on this Tuesday night.
I'm not your gossip girl, I'm the headline. Truth with a curve, baby, redefine. Welcome to the thirst trap. All the truth looks good in a tight wrap. We talk love, power, soul, and sin. Turn the world on, let the light in. We are the thirst trap news. You'll drink it up, it's the real you. They've been trying to first row news, where every headline's a revelation.
What's up, Caddy? I see you're the first one in the chat. Thanks for saying hey. Thank you for the blessings. I hope everybody is doing well. So far, today has been lovely. I got my nails done. They look so much more white under this light, but they're like, it's like a purpley color with like a chameleon on it. You can't really see it, but it like changes colors. Oh well. Anyway, I love getting my nails done. Happy feet. What's up? Much love to you too. Thank you. Yes, I'm like feeling my nails. I'm going on a trip tomorrow. I'll be clear kayaking with the manatees tomorrow. Then the next day I'll be horseback riding. And then the day after that, we're going to go to the World Equestrian Center. And then I'm going to be back home. This was my birthday trip that didn't get, that had to get moved because of a hurricane that was teasing coming on shore. So, But I got to sleep in really, really late. That was nice. I had no guilt about it. And yeah, got my nails done, and it was just a chill day. So, anywho, let me show you guys what I made for you. Just because I think a lot of people don't know what I normally do on this show. So, I kind of have like a show schedule. Where is it? Here it is. So on Tuesday nights, we do a documentary, we watch a documentary together or a long form video. And hey, Annabelle, can you turn the air up 2 notches for me, please? So today I have a video for you, of course. It is, maybe we'll get through 2 because these videos are only an hour long. But on Wednesdays I do reaction videos, and then Thursdays I'm off, and then Fridays I do the 6 Cents news report. But only problem is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday I will be off. But I might stream some of my trip, like from my phone. I might try. Saturday I do like a psych or a spiritual topic, and then Sunday is the Human Origins series that I do. So anyway, can we just talk about something that's been bouncing around in my brain? Not because I have answers. I absolutely do not have answers. I just have questions. And sometimes questions can be funnier than the answers, am I right? One of those questions is, how on earth did Ben Shapiro seem to be getting updates about Charlie Kirk in what felt like real time after Charlie got murdered? What's up, MC? Again, I'm not accusing anybody of anything, so Ben, chill out in case you see this. I'm not saying that there's some giant conspiracy, but I am saying there's some giant conspiracy. I am saying the optics have made me go, huh? About the whole thing. Because if you've ever been to an emergency room, they won't even tell you what's happening to yourself. You walk in with a broken arm, will disappear for 6 hours. You ask the nurse what's going on, and she says, we're waiting on the doctor. You ask the doctor says, we're waiting on radiology. You ask radiology says, we're waiting on insurance. You ask insurance, and insurance says, we're waiting on God. But somehow, political commentators always seem to know everything instantly. How is that? I'm sitting there refreshing Twitter, trying to figure out whether my Amazon package is arriving today. And these guys somehow have a play-by-play of a medical emergency. How is that? Do they have a group chat called Breaking News before it's news? Is there like a Signal thread? A Discord server? They're using carrier pigeons. That's what they're using. Did someone train bald eagles to deliver the updates? I genuinely don't know. Maybe it's completely normal. Maybe people close to Charlie were communicating with friends. Maybe multiple people on scene were texting. Maybe rumors were flying around, about faster than facts. That happens literally every time there's a major event. But from the outside, it creates one of those moments where you're watching and thinking, man, you guys seem incredibly well informed. Meanwhile, my mom still texts me 3 days later, did you hear about that thing on the news? Thanks, Mom. We're already on season 2. Now let's pivot, because if we're talking about Ben Shapiro, I have to ask, can somebody please explain this man's economic philosophy to me? Because every time he talks about housing, I feel like I'm listening to the CFO of Monopoly. It's about the same size, too. Apparently, nobody should own a home anymore. Ben Shapiro just wants us to rent forever, mortgage forever, debt forever, credit forever. Good old Jewish usury. He wants us in debt 40 years, 50 years. Maybe we'll get a 100-year mortgage. Congratulations, your great-grandchildren inherit your ranch-style house and your monthly payment. Fantastic. We're speed-running feudalism. That if I work hard, save money, buy land, pay it off, it's mine. Crazy concept. Apparently that's outdated. So we're all supposed to, live in subscription mode? Benny? Subscribe to your music, subscribe to your television, your software, your groceries, subscribe to your underwear. Now, apparently, we have to subscribe to shelter. Everything is a monthly payment. Nothing is yours. You'll own nothing. Actually, I'm not even going to go there, but seriously, no. I don't want my entire existence to be one giant recurring charge, Mr. Shapiro. I don't want to lease my life out. I don't want my obituary to say she finally made her last mortgage payment at 117 years old. Then there's Ben's foreign policy priorities. Now look, reasonable people can disagree on foreign policy. That's politics. But when people hear rhetoric that sounds like another country's instincts deserve more urgency than American families struggling to afford homes, they're going to notice. Especially when Americans are sitting there asking, can I even buy a house? And the answer sounds like, no. But here's another lecture. Sir, Ben Shapiro, with all due respect, we are citizens, not livestock. We're not the goyim here to spend our entire lives grazing in the pastures of permanent debt. We're not economic dairy cows. We're not your farm animal goyim. The American dream wasn't, congratulations, you've pre-qualified for your 7-3 finance. It was, build something, own something, leave something to your children. That's the dream. Land, community, roots, stability, not infinite APR, not 50-year mortgages, not financial hamster wheels, powered by visas. Welcome, Tyranny. Thank you so much for the 3 gifted subscriptions. Thank you for the support so much. Hello, how are you doing? I don't dream of like one day paying rent to BlackRock until I die. That's not occurring in my dreams. I dream about acreage, gardens, fruit trees, kids catching fireflies, a porch, maybe some chickens, maybe a stubborn goat that hates everyone equally. That's freedom. Debt is not freedom. Debt makes you a slave. Ownership is freedom. Which brings me back to my original question. Sometimes the internet moves so fast, the information moves faster than confirmation. Sometimes commentators are simply plugged into networks the average person just isn't. And sometimes rumors spread like wildfire. Sometimes the first report turns out wrong. That's happened over and over again in major breaking news. So when I watch someone narrating developments in almost real time, my brain naturally wonders, wow, how are they getting that information? Maybe there's an ordinary explanation. Maybe there isn't. I don't know. And until there's evidence of something more, it's just a question, not an accusation, Mr. Shapiro. But I will say this. If breaking news has taught us anything, it's that certainty is usually the first casualty. The loudest voices are often the earliest, and the earliest voices are often the least accurate. So maybe we should all just be a little slower to declare certainty and a little quicker to ask good questions, because questions aren't dangerous. No. Pretending you already know all the answers, Ben, usually is dangerous and makes you look highly suspicious. And on that note, if anybody knows where Ben can get his notifications, can he at least forward me the package tracking for my Amazon order? Because apparently he gets updates faster than UPS. Welcome to Thirst Trap News. So, here we go. Got a goodie on for you. Tyranny says, this is a good dream. I think about it all the time. Acres is a good thing for people as a whole, I think. I agree. You are right. You are absolutely right, my dear sir. Tyranny, it is good to see ya. All right. We're going to get into Candace Owens and what she has to say about Ben Shapiro getting text message updates while he was on a lunch date on September 10th about the status of Charlie. Let's see. Here we go.
End of our week, at least. And as promised today, we received information regarding who Ben Shapiro was with when Charlie Kirk was hit. Ben claims he was at a breakfast or a lunch. Now, we were unable to confirm that little bit, but we were able to get solid information on who is telling people that he was with Ben Shapiro. So we are going to discuss that. Also, we got an absolutely wild comment yesterday from one of you at home, and I have to share it. I will preface this by saying that...
What's up, Q? You missed my amazing monologue. How dare you be late to my show? JK.
I'm not going down the rabbit hole totally, but somebody else might be. I'm just going to sort of stir the pot on this one because my jaw was on the floor reading this comment and doing a little bit of research and realizing it was accurate. And it is regarding another mysterious and untimely death in Hollywood. So welcome back to Candace.
There will friendship in the stars. I don't know what it's saying. It's an AI voice. It's not saying any words.
All right, you guys, I want to talk about parasites because they are fascinating little organisms. They're creepy, but they are fascinating in part because their survival depends on feeding off of a host and causing it harm. I mean, really think about that existence, not being able to live unless you are causing destruction. I'm one of those people that really loved watching Animal Planet and Discovery growing up, and I still do, by the way. And what's especially interesting about parasites is the manner in which they infect their host. As you probably know, there are many different kinds of mind-controlling parasites. Literally, they infect the mind of healthy organisms, and they pervert their worldview, causing the host to do...
That's funny. I was just talking about this with somebody yesterday. Or was it today? It was yesterday or today. That's funny.
...things that are ultimately harmful to and sometimes plainly suicidal to themselves.
More amazing than dinner and Dookie. Dinner and a Dookie episode yesterday was epic. It was one for the books. Y'all even got to see me cry.
Ants, as just one example, can have their minds invaded by parasites that convince the ants to climb up onto grass blades and to position themselves to be eaten by predators. Think about that. They become actual zombie ants. And you've also maybe heard the same thing regarding the parasites that house cats carry. I'm sure you've heard a lot about it. If you're a woman and you're pregnant, they always warn you.
I was just talking about toxoplasmosis with somebody. That is hilarious.
About toxoplasmosis gondii, or T. gondii for short, because if humans are overexposed to it, they can become convinced, I'm not kidding, that they are in love with their cats. There have been cases where people have wanted to quit their jobs and stay home with their cats, and the doctor has to let them know you're actually carrying a parasite. That's actually one of the components of how cats are able to catch mice. They're able to convince the mice that they're safe, that they're in love with them. It's totally bizarre and wacky. You should read up on it. If you're like me, you'll be very interested. Then there are the type of parasites that rather than taking over the mind of the host, they can take over the tongue. I'm not kidding. They are called tongue-snatching isopods, and they can invade a fish through its gills and attach to the base of its tongue until it causes the tongue. They can just take it over completely, replace the tongue of its host, and control the organ entirely, which is crazy to think about, a parasite just controlling your tongue. And it's astonishing to me that there are entire groups of people, human beings, who emulate this exact behavior. I always say that. I look at people and I'm like, what animal in the kingdom are you? And sometimes you come across an insect. And there are these people who seek to control and dominate what other people think.
Oh, boy. Whoopsies. I'm alive. Save me. Oh, my God. I forgot what I was going to say.
Just like a parasite. What other people say, just like a parasite, who invade very much like parasites in this sort of effort to drive people crazy. They behave as though they're going to die unless they can take and infect others. I've come across these people, of course, a lot in the last 3 years. And sometimes I'm like, hey, could you just move on? Is it cool if I just disagree with you on that topic? Can I think my own thoughts? And I feel like their response is, no, I will die if you do that. I have to keep focusing on this and trying to weigh you down. That obviously has been my experience in recent years with Zionists. Like, they just cannot let it go. But there's also a spiritual component to it as well. We showed you yesterday Canaanites, literal Baal worshipers, modeling themselves after Nimrod, meaning that they are permanently at war with the Creator. There is a damnation to being at war with the Creator. It means that you can't create. If you give yourself over to these sorts of demons, you can no longer create. You don't have a way.
Well, the question to that is, how do all these music artists create? Oh, well, yeah, they do have a whole entire team of production. That's true. It's true. Maybe it is true. Backwater said, nice nails, Luna, and looking nice today. Hair looks flat. Thank you. Yes, I got my nails done. Don't you love the color? They're kind of, you can't see it because the light's too bright, but they're like chameleon. Meow.
Back to the source. So you have to model yourself after a parasite. You have to steal. You have to deceive. You have to manipulate. You have to entrap people via contracts. Entrap people who do have the creative force, because you can't produce that within yourself. Charlie Kirk had the creative force within him. You could see that, the lightness in his eyes, the joy. He's a happy warrior. He wanted to build, not destroy. Michael Jackson had that creative spark. And then people surrounded him. Justin Bieber, I will say, finally looks like he has his creative spark back. He simplified things after breaking free from contracts that were costing him his soul. Right. That's the moment that we're in right now in society. I really believe that. On a personal level, I've told you guys over and over again, and I will stand by this fact that Ben Shapiro behaves like a parasite. It's just a fact. If you just look at his history, it's been my experience with him, and I'm not the only one. Steve Bannon, the once executive chairman to Breitbart News, Ben's former employer, explained this, how after Andrew Breitbart died, I should mention young and under very suspicious circumstances, Ben attempted to take over Andrew's company. And when that failed, he plotted to take down the company because why can't he have it? Doesn't matter if he built it, it should be his. So take a listen to what Steve Bannon said at AmFest last December about Ben.
Ben Shapiro is like a cancer, and that cancer spreads.
Yeah.
It's a cancer, and it metastasizes. He tried to take over Breitbart, and I ran him out of there. He tried to take over David Horowitz's, who was his mentor. Don't ask me. Ask the guys associated with David Horowitz what he did there. He tried to take that over. And mark my word, he will make a move on Turning Point because he's always been envious of Charlie Kirk.
I've marked those words. And what has become alarming is that Ben fixates. He does. He fixates. He cannot move on. He was fixated on Charlie Kirk all throughout his career. He is similarly fixated on Tucker Carlson. I mean, I worked at the Daily Wire, and it was totally bizarre to me how focused the executives were on Tucker, like they were in some competition. Tucker never spoke about Ben, and yet it was constantly this topic. Ben tried to stop Charlie's rise. I have said that repeatedly, and he gave him trouble all throughout his career. That is a fact. Charlie first thought he looked up to Ben, and then in 2018, as soon as Ben got envious, so Ben, exactly what Bannon is referring to, it switched, and he began doing the stuff that he does behind the scenes because, well, he just thinks it's supposed to be his, and he's looking for a host. Now, I have tried to execute, believe it or not, a lot of restraint in sharing things that I know, and it has been very difficult for me to straddle knowing the things that I know about Charlie and his shifting opinions and what began the shift in those opinions, and then having to watch at the same time the very people that he was fighting toward the end of his life just lie without any recourse, like they don't have souls. And the most shocking has been Andrew Colvett, his attempts to pretend that Charlie and me were never friends, that Charlie and me had some imaginary falling out and we just did not have each other's back since 2019. Worst of all, I think, is then him just inverting reality and claiming that Charlie and Ben were friends. I want to be very clear. That is diabolical. That is diabolical. I actually was sitting in Spain next to Carrie Prijad-Buller, and I would
sit there and try to... This just goes to show you that they don't really care of the lengths that they'll go to lie to us, because they lied to us that they weren't friends, like we didn't watch her and Charlie grow up being friends. Like, I'm sure the 20-something-year-olds, that lie worked on them. But those of us who are older, who've been following Charlie and Candace, have known the whole time that they've been friends. And it's like they just shamelessly, it's shameless. They just shamelessly lie to cover up, to make everything that they're saying make sense. They have to. They know that we know they're lying. Well, they can't back out now and change course. They're stuck to it.
was just showing her all of these messages, and her jaw was on the floor. She was like, I can't even believe this, because we were watching Andrew tweet this narrative. Candace wasn't friends with Charlie, and Ben was. Charlie was the single person, just so you guys know, who provided me with the most emotional support when the Zionist thugs came for me. Like, that began, as you guys know, in earnest at the end of 2000.
I need to get like a gif with like a Hasidic Jew with like a gold chain and like gangsta glasses on. What's up, Caddy? Caddy says Luna is the best. Thank you. Yeah, Jack, we've had some crazy rain here too. Yeah, we definitely have had some weather for sure.
2023.
Please hit that like button, hit that repost, and leave a comment.
The Christ is King scandal, then me getting fired, and Charlie talked me through all of that. He kept me clear-minded, focused, told me how I should react, and I believe that the treatment of me, which he predicted and told me was going to happen next, served as a major point of him recognizing what he and I had arrived in suddenly, where people were trying to control us. And at the same time, because this was post-October 7th, of course, where the thugs just started thugging a bit harder and demanding that people, I don't know, say what they were supposed to say or else.
I believe her, because that's what they did to me when I ran for Congress. That's exactly what they did to me. The thugs in politics.
They also attacked Charlie, and they called him anti-Semitic. So I'm going to show you this text message thread. Now that Andrew Kova is out the gate saying Charlie was terrified of me and we weren't friends since 2019 and he was just managing me in our relationship, I'm going to show you a snippet of our thread. This one dated November 15th, 2023, when Ben Shapiro began his attacks against me. And you are going to be able to judge for yourself what kind of relationship we had. Shockingly, just to be clear, I was working for Ben Shapiro, who's a part owner of Daily Wire, for that company when this was going down. And it was obvious that there was a coordinated effort from the inside post-October 7th to begin privately pressuring and smearing anybody who wasn't repeating the narrative that Israel were the only victims, that everything began on October 7th and they had a right to do whatever they wanted. The beginning of the infamous Christ is King and genocide is always wrong scandal when they started swarming. That's the only way I can describe it. It's a swarm, an infestation. So here are the messages. Charlie sent me his tweet defending me. I am genuinely confused why asking questions and quoting Bible verses about peace warrants a call to resign from the Daily Wire. There should be more room in the conservative movement for disagreement. We can do better than this. Charlie then wrote to me, don't resign because it's what they want. I said, I won't. I know. Charlie wrote, Jeremy, boring. He knew exactly what Jeremy was. 100% workshopped this. This is not Ben acting alone. This is a hit. I said, I believe it. I believe that 100%. Also, they are idiots. Charlie then came back and said, this is a C-level hit against you because they think they can provoke you, which was what was happening. They were trying to provoke me to quit. I wrote back, yes. And he said, that's why this is all coordinated. I came back and I said, also Marissa, and I was referring to Marissa Straight of Prager University, is involved, I suspect. They always send her out last to talk sense to me. He said, they want you to do a video. Oh my God, I'm out. I'm not going to work for him. I said, I believe it. He said, Marissa Straight, she's part of the tribe. Do not listen to her. I said, I know she is. I always know when they roll her out, it's like programming. And this time I stood up to her because I did that time. Did not apologize for saying genocide is always wrong. Charlie said, good. He continues. I've told all the Jews recently to go to hell who try and tell me to stop. I said, it's unreal. It's an implicit threat. He said, BTW to the flight workout, okay? I was 40 weeks pregnant. He was helping me to find a plane last second. And I said, by the way, you are featured in my Tucker interview that just dropped. I defended you hardcore. I forgot to mention that he just dropped it. And he said, thank you. We are on the same team. Screw these people. And I said around the 20-minute mark. And he said, thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. Very few of us are willing to stand up to the cabal right now. I said, thank you so much for having my back. You know, I have yours. I'm really so disgusted by what they did to you. Years of service to the pro-Israel cause and no one cares, treating you like you are only as good as what you can do to them. The plane worked out great today. Thank you so much. It made all the difference. This pregnant LOL, I'm literally 40 weeks. And he wrote, absolutely, we are on the same team. People are waking up and it is finally happening. He continued, it is so transactional. I am repulsed by it. For years, I was called a Jewish shill. And now they say I am a Hamas agent. Screw them. The game has changed.
You can never make them happy. That's the thing. You'll never make them happy. It is... I will never run for Congress ever again. Trust me when I tell you that.
So that's a snippet into what began conversations between me and Charlie over the course of, I guess only a year and a half later, he would be dead. Just over a year and a half later, he would be murdered, about Zionism and how they were moving in on speech, how they were bullying us. We have conversations about Seth Dillon, all the players who we were involved and trying to gaslight us by name calling us, and very clearly we're coordinating with one another. And I've always told you guys the truth from the beginning that after that, when I got fired, you can go watch the clips of Charlie saying, we have her back, we're on her side. And those conversations were happening. Again, he was telling me what the best moves were to make, providing the advice and guidance as he always did. When I went and spoke at YWLS, he and I sat in a room and chatted about what was happening behind the scenes of Daily Wire, what they were doing. Legally speaking, opened up to him about that. I believe Andrew Colbert was actually present for that discussion, if I recall, before I went on stage. And so then I was told through messages, actually text messages that I have with Andrew, that Ben Shapiro was squeezing their donors and trying to get them to say that I couldn't speak at AmFest at the end of 2024. And I said, Charlie, I don't even care about that. Like, don't let them now. I know you're under attack. I don't care about any of that. Literally, I'm under so much pressure right now. I have to now rebuild my podcast. Like, who cares? Like, let's take a beat. I'm sharing this with you because I want you to really imagine not just my shock, but also my internal and what will now be my eternal disgust. Experiencing his quote unquote friends completely lie about this. Okay. This is, by the way, not new. Everyone who knew Charlie, as I told you many times, they knew that not only that Charlie.
That made me very suspicious of Turning Point, and I knew pretty early on, just in my gut, that they helped and assisted providing access to Charlie. I mean, I knew it pretty early on.
That we're close. Of course, the President of the United States comes to you and asks you to call Candace about Brigitte Macron. It's because everyone knows that you and Candace are close. But Everyone also knew that he was under pressure from pro-Israel donors since October 7th, 2023. Everyone also knew that he has never liked and was always disgusted by the way Ben behaved, by the way Ben treats his friends and his enemies. He doesn't care if you're a friend, as you saw with Megyn Kelly. He will throw you under the bus in 4 seconds if it's about Israel. And in the end, less than 24 hours before he died, Charlie snapped. He did abandon the pro-Israel cause. He was not joking in those messages, as some people have tried to say. He put his foot down and he texted multiple people that he was done and that he wanted to bring me back. That was the sign of how they were squeezing him the year before. Yet immediately after his death, the person who I could show you text messages over the course of every single year up until he died, the one person that Charlie made it perfectly clear from our early days that he was at war with. Okay, here's another throwback, this one older, of Charlie saying just that he was at war. She's close with Ben. Yup, the war is on. Snakes in the garden, they are not our friends. Time to fight. Back when he was just trying to stop Charlie from rising because he is naturally envious. He doesn't want anyone to be bigger than him, and sees it as his right to sue, steal, take. I don't know. It truly is the non-spirit of a parasite. But you have to imagine how I felt. Suddenly and almost immediately following this, Charlie's assassination, that Ben, of all people, is sitting in his studio, in Charlie's studio with $1 million in hand, attempting to buy his legacy. And I shouldn't say attempt, right? Because they allowed it. Andrew then lied. He lied, didn't feel anything when he did it. He said Ben and Charlie were friends. Allowed him to open at his event. His wife as well allowed that, right? She came out first and then Ben came out. And not only that, he had to have pre-submitted his speech. That's usually how it goes. They knew he was going to go on the attack against Charlie's actual friends.
Backwater says, help a page out. Your thumb's already doing all the work scrolling away. Like it, share it, repost it. Your therapist will be proud of at least one of your decisions today. Thanks, Thank you, Backwater.
Me, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly. And now we fast forward and we learn that Ben claims that his security, who consists of former Israeli IDF members, were on the phone with Charlie's security during the critical 7 minutes that Charlie was fighting for his life, while Charlie was dying in the back seat of an SUV. His enemy was receiving updates. How sinister is that? I want you to comprehend how sinister that is. And let's take a listen to Ben state this so you can fully appreciate how deeply evil it feels. Take a listen.
I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody. And I got the news that Charlie had been shot, and my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Well, Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way. There's visual timelines that show Charlie's body being carried to a vehicle within minutes of being shot. Apparently, he was still alive at the time. Again, I know that only because my security was talking to his security in the car.
I hate that.
Me too.
I hate that.
Me too.
I hope Charlie couldn't hear. Everything about his demeanor there does not pass the vibe check for me. Everything about his aggressive position and demeanor since Charlie's passing has signaled to me that something is very awry. So what did we do? We put out a bounty. I said, who was Benny Boy with at breakfast or lunch? He doesn't remember breakfast or lunch. And we instantly heard back, and we took our time to verify the person that we were speaking with, that person was authentic, that we did everything possible to fact check the information. Regardless, I will still say allegedly, because of course there was always room for misunderstanding. But the person that Ben was with has allegedly told various other people that he was with Ben.
Thank you, Caddy. I thought so too. Even the nail lady was like, when she got the color on, she was like, ooh. Like when nail lady reacts like that, then you know you picked a good shade. It's because I'm so yellow. Purple looks good on, obviously, yellow.
When Charlie Kirk was shot. Now, we were not able to confirm that they were at breakfast or lunch. Only what came to us was that they were together. And that person is a man named Gary Javich. Ben was allegedly with Gary Javich and an as of yet unidentified woman when Charlie Kirk was shot. Now, we have a strong guess as to who that woman could be, but we'd rather not venture a guess unnecessarily. So Gary Javich is not a person that you have likely ever heard of unless you are Jewish and involved in the community, but he is certainly very well known, actually very powerful. And we weighed this identification as likely, determined it was probably likely given the reason that Ben was in Los Angeles on that September day. For clarity, Ben was in Los Angeles because he was scheduled to appear later that evening at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library in Simi Valley at 6 o'clock p.m. That event was eventually canceled because Charlie was shot. What we can confirm about Gary Javich is that he has spent the last few decades of his life, he's older, in his 70s, mid-70s, in Omaha, Nebraska, of all places, right? He got one of his degrees in Omaha.
Yeah, it's like a lavender. It's in the violet purple family. Violet, the actual color violet is like that electric purple with the background of blue. Makes it like really pop. That's also a great color. No, this is the first time I've done this like lavender, lilac. It's more lilac than lavender. Lavender has a blue background. Lilac has a pink background. But I feel cute indeed. I feel cute in them nails.
Nebraska back in the 90s and has been there ever since. Now, Omaha, Nebraska just keeps coming up. It really does, right? Whether we're talking about the Egyptian plains, whether we're talking about other topics throughout this case, when we were initially looking into Turning Point reopening their UNL chapter, we've talked a lot in general about Nebraska, surprisingly so. But most critically, what is something that you should know about Gary Javich is that he is and has been the executive director of B'nai B'rith International for years. B'nai B'rith is the Jewish Freemasonic Lodge. That immediately piqued my interest, especially if you are in my book club, you know the stuff that we have learned about B'nai B'rith throughout our study of Sigmund Freud. This is what just sort of ripped me into a new reality.
Freud.
Sigmund Freud and the Jewish mystical tradition. Yes, B'nai B'rith was indeed founded by German Jews. It was a Freemason lodge where Sigmund Freud, as we learned in one of our books, was free to denigrate the Goyim in his correspondence with his fellow Jews. He would say things like, that joke is much too good for Goyim. They tell us that that's just meant to mean nation or something. B'nai B'rith then spun into the Anti-Defamation League. It's an important note that you should know about that. And that happened when the extraordinarily wealthy Jewish man in Atlanta named Leo Frank, who owned a factory and was president of the Atlanta B'nai B'rith chapter, assaulted and murdered an impoverished 13-year-old Catholic girl named Mary Fagan. He was convicted of this crime,
Shocker.
despite trying to blame it on a poor, illiterate black janitor who also worked for him at the factory.
Yes, of course. Blame it on the black guy. If people don't see how Zionists have attacked black culture to literally create them to be the most dysfunctional community because they just literally hate blacks so much, like, I don't know what to tell you. You're blind.
Do you know how guilty you would have to be to get a jury to not convict a black man in the South, in the segregated South in 1913?
Right. That's how guilty.
Yet to this day, every year, the ADL lobbies, claims it was anti-Semitism that he got convicted, where there was none. He was an unbelievably powerful player, and he was also convicted by a jury that consisted of Jews. And they have been attempting to get that conviction overturned for decades. Now, I highly recommend you read this little packet and conduct your own research, The Ugly Truth About the ADL. It's very important you understand what they have been involved in this country since their founding. Read it, as I did, and then research the claims that are made in this, as I did, and think for yourself. But we are coming to a point in this country that it is very important that you understand what that group is, where they come from, and in my view, the danger that the ADL represents. Anyway, back to Gary. He served on the B'nai B'rith International's board as their executive board chair in 2011, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019. He received the inaugural President's Award in 2019 for advancing the organization's mission. A 2022 report identified him as the director of the local B'nai B'rith chapter in Omaha. He is also the director of the Chabad Lubavitch of Nebraska. Again, if you're not in my book club, you should just read the books. I would read David Bacon's Sigmund Freud and the Jewish Mystical Tradition.
It's good.
You will note that anytime the Chabad Lubavitch is mentioned, underground tunnels in New York, there's this immediate vicious reaction online. There's a reason for that. There is a person currently sitting in jail who tried to murder me, plotted my murder on a chat with 20 other Jews. None of them notified me. The FBI got involved. Stunning that 20 people could be on a chat as a person is saying how he's going to murder Candace Owens, and none of them would reach out. I can't imagine that in Christian world. I can't imagine a chat with 20 Christians plotting the assassination of Ben Shapiro, and nobody would reach out and be like, this person's crazy, and I wanted to inform you that I'm on this chat with a crazy person. But that's what happened.
They wanted you.
It was real. There's a person sitting in jail because I mentioned the Chabad Lubavitch's history, particularly as it pertains to the Brooklyn tomb that every president seems to visit, including Donald Trump. More about Gary. His professional biography says that he served on the National Council of AIPAC. Gary was the president of the Nebraska chapter of AIPAC. It also lists his twin brother, David Javich, as being on the board of AIPAC currently. Now, we were able to discover that Ben Shapiro and his wife have been donating a life and legacy amount to the Jewish Federation of Omaha, Nebraska for years. I know he has some ties to Omaha. I'm not really clear to what extent or why. Maybe he just likes it. But of course, Gary is involved with that organization as a host and a donor. That is all we know. I do not need to draw any further conclusions because everything about this situation gives me the ick. But I will put out another bounty, similarly, for $25,000 for the person who can tell me who in Charlie's car was speaking to who
$25,000 bounty
on Ben's security team. We will protect your identity as we always do. We will obviously work with you to make sure you're comfortable in how I share the information. And I'm good for it. You can trust me. This matters very deeply to me. But I wanted to just really underscore how despicable the Turning Point USA team has been in their lies. There's no bottom to their lies. And if they will lie about something like that
for sure
for a $1 million check, yeah, they betrayed Charlie one way or the other.
Agree.
They are currently actually every day betraying Charlie. It was a betrayal to sit there and to lie about who his friends were and who his enemies are. So if you have any information, I will again state, please send us an email to moretips@CandaceOwens.com. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. We'll be right back after a break. All right, you guys.
Okay, we can't hear that. And here we go. Thank you for the gifted subscription. Landed on Deep Brief. Deep Brief, welcome to the chat. I haven't heard about the tsunami or the earthquake or any of that. Q says, I'm related to Reagan, and he could fuck off with his ending insane asylums, putting crazies in the streets, war on drugs. If you don't know what that caused, I can't help you. And he took the right to own machine guns, so fuck Ronald Reagan. Yeah, that's a good point.
So there is this psychological attack method known as DARVO, right? You deny, you attack, you reverse the victim and the offender. Totally crazy town. We saw this yesterday when Andrew Colvett, who, as Baron Coleman accurately states, is a liar who lies about everything, blamed me for the hit piece against me when it went wrong. Now, here's the thing that's now happening, which I am just beside myself with happiness that this is starting to occur, is that people who weren't sure about Turning Point USA, people who were, had the icky, I think we all did initially, like, okay, like this is kind of Charlie's legacy, and maybe people who initially disliked me, they're starting to change now because they're shocked at the audacity of the lies. And so Andrew took a very big risk in telling this lie. And for clarity, the article is still up because he's lying. They cannot get a retraction from the Daily Mail because he's lying through his teeth. These quotes did not materialize from Candace Owens. They did not materialize from nowhere. No associate editor would put their livelihood on the line and risk being sued, the entire publication being sued, to make up quotes whole cloth from a woman who has not just victim status amongst the elites, but has the DOJ and the...
What's up? Welcome to the chat. Cristianor. I don't know exactly how to say it. Well, welcome. The
president's office backing her up. Like, that's not something they're going to do, right? Lose their job livelihood so I can make up a quote about Erica. But he's stupid, and he took that risk anyway. And what it did was it actually made them lose a lot of favor with people that work in and around media. And obviously, those people all talk, they all communicate, they follow stories, and they're like, what is going on? This, that. Anyway, so we received, without even asking, I didn't even say, hey, if you have any information about this, we received a flurry of emails of people who presented proof, concrete proof, that the story did indeed come from a family friend of Erica. And that family friend is exactly who I expected it was, Tracy Martin, because Tracy Martin also lies. Tracy Martin's been doing the rounds in the press. She was giving quotes to Us Magazine, and she's also the person who had a perfectly friendly phone call with me and pretended that I was shouting and cursing her out on the phone. That tells me she's a liar. She's a liar. And what she immediately did when I said I suspected it was her was that she tried to get ahead of it and go on to Paramount Tactical Show. And now, this is before I had received emails to the effect that it was Tracy Martin. And like I said, I'll say allegedly, but I feel very good about the source. And you can just hear the manner in which Tracy Martin tries to get in front of this and lies with her usual, Erica never has done anything wrong ever in her whole life, even though Tracy was friends with Erica back in the days when she was dating, basketball players. Erica, you could find videos of her rapping to gangster music when she was partying. Tracy Martin is going to pretend none of that ever happened, and Erica just doesn't talk like that. What?
It's funny what Q said right here, because I agree with it. However, you'll hear me say that we're still in a Cold War because we're in a Cold War with someone different, not Russia. I just never bought into that. But it's definitely within ourselves. The infighting, a civil Cold War, in my opinion, and also against the people that Candace is talking about.
Watch her lie. Take a listen.
Tracy, let us know what your thoughts are on this. And by the way, were you the person that Daily Mail contacted and you provided this information?
Absolutely not. No, absolutely not.
You've read both those articles because you sent them to me.
Yes.
You read the original article and you've now read the edited article that they act like the first article didn't exist and kept the same date and everything else. Like, tell me what your thoughts are behind this. And let's talk a little bit about the credibility of what they're saying about Erica. Have you ever seen Erica go on tirade, start crashing out?
Never. That's not her MO. I have a lot of thoughts about this, to be honest with you, Gary. First and foremost, that's not Erica. People who know Erica. And if you notice, people actually came on against this podcast who just...
I've seen the Matrix too. Actually, I've seen the zeros and ones during my DMT breakthroughs, all three of them.
Just recently met me and said there's no way that she would have done this. And that's how you know you have a consistency of character. Erica would never, she doesn't curse. She doesn't say those things. And she still to this day has never...
Big Lou too says, I like Candace. Her authenticity is refreshing in today's world of BS and fake news and sellout influencers. Agreed. The ones that they always say are crazy are the ones that I pay most attention to.
Never said anything bad about Candace or anyone involved in this at all.
That's literally not true. She came out dressed like an assassin and name-checked me and accused me of accusing her of killing her husband, which was meant to invite hate toward me. I mean, the entire reason her PR thing fell apart was because Erica has been signaling for people to attack me. Just stop name-checking me in questions that were pre-approved by Barry Weiss, which she knew was going to happen. So it's so obvious that she's lying. And she comes out and she says that. And like I said, she has a history of lying. This Tracy, I had a perfectly nice conversation. I wish I had recorded it because it was so nice. And the next thing I know, she was out there pretending like I was cussing her out on the phone. Nope, just told her how I felt about Erica and things that I thought were strange and asked her opinion about why she didn't find it strange that Erica was being caught in so many lies that she knew about. That's it. And so there's your answer. I'm still challenging Andrew Kovach to get that article removed. Get the person to come out and apologize. They should have there should be a full retraction issued if what you are saying is true and they are attributing quotes that are not real to Erica's family friend. It was as I understand it, an attempt to show the public that she was strong and that she was not going to take it and for her to come out swinging, and it backfired. And then they moved to Darvo tactics. That's what she's doing. It's Darvo tactic to then pretend that I was the person who attacked myself. We have Turning Point in a very good spot. Okay. We want them to go mask down and to reveal their character and to keep telling such implausible lies like this because it's turning more people against them. It is. It's making people realize what they are capable of, because that was just like, I was like, are you kidding? When I woke up, I'm like, they're saying I was behind the article calling myself the B word, calling myself a soulless ghoul. Yeah, that's not going to earn you any friends in media. It's just not.
Deep breathe. Am I in a relationship? Yes, I am in a relationship. I am married.
Moving on from that, I did also want to show you guys this clip talking about how the truth is spreading, and I can guarantee you next week is going to be an explosive week. But Rob O'Neill, we didn't show the full clip of him on Newsmax, and I also wanted to get him talking about what was going on the rooftop and this screwdriver that is just bothering me the more and more I think about it. Take a listen.
Well, I'm just saying, I mean, the screwdriver that probably wouldn't have worked to take it apart or put it together in the first place was left on the rooftop anyway. So he jumped off the roof and put it back together without the screwdriver that probably didn't work anyway.
Well, Big Lou, welcome to Thirst Trap News. Welcome to the trap. On Saturday nights, I have another show called After the Trap that I do with my co-host, Florida Backwater Fishing. But he had a major surgery, so we're just waiting on him to recover to resume those. And yeah, stick around. I'm live almost every night. I won't be live for the next 3 nights because I'll be going away out of town. But normally I'm live almost every night.
Anyway, put it back together, wrapped it up, and put it nicely in a bunch of trees, then ran off and started texting someone like English was a second language. I mean, the whole thing's just shady. 30-06 was 30 caliber invented in 06. It's 1906 to kill big game. And if you hit something in the spine, especially a human, I've shot ballistic gelatin all the time. I've never shot a human with 30-06, but I know it would do a lot more than that. If it was just a 30-06 shooting too, that went left to right, not from front to back. You can clearly see an exit wound on Charlie Kirk's left-hand side. And then it just why are we supposed to believe everything we see on TV? Shut up, believe it. That's the narrative. No, it's not. I'm SEAL Team 6 sniper with the sniper school in 1998. I'm telling you.
Just fantastic. I love what he says, texting like it's English is a second language, because that's exactly what it was. Too formal. When you learn a language, you always learn it super formal. It's not the way people speak amongst each other. And it looked like someone just hit Google Translate and it came out like they were speaking the Queen's English, which obviously registered to the public as strange. And so it is good that we are finally reaching critical mass. I think we actually always were at critical mass, but that more people are feeling emboldened to speak out. And, I do have to say, I just feel like Charlie's with us. I do. I feel like he's fighting with us. And that's why this is not going away. And he's working just as hard as he always did. Now, I have to read you this comment that shook me to my core yesterday on YouTube. I'm not getting involved beyond this. I'm just saying that it caught me off guard because I had sort of peripherally understood that there was some drama going on with this suicide of Ellen DeGeneres, the longtime talk show host, no longer on air. She had a DJ named Twitch that worked on her show, and he committed suicide, allegedly, in a hotel room. And somebody commented this on YouTube, wrote, so many similarities with Twitch's case. Mormon wife who chased him at dancing events until he marries her. The family iced out. Mysterious death. His family asked to sign an NDA to attend the memorial. The wife back at work and in business mode a few days later, making deals and publishing books. And note, they put here that I find out that Allison grew up in Orem, Utah, and graduated from Timpanogos High School in 2006. I was like, what? Is this, I'm reading the comments and I'm going, is this real? Did she grow up in Orem, Utah? And sure enough, she did. Just a quick background on the case, just keeping it factual. Twitch died in 2002 at a motel less than a mile from his house from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He checked in to the Oak Tree Inn, and his body was discovered by motel staff on Tuesday. He checked in on a Monday. The body was discovered on Tuesday when they entered his room. He was just 40 years old, and he was pronounced dead at the scene just after 11 a.m. And an autopsy report confirmed, this is what's crucial, that there were no drugs or alcohol that was found in his system at the time of death. TMZ then went around and spoke to motel staffers who said that he didn't appear to be in any sort of distress. He wasn't visibly upset, nothing. And the staffers also said that no one even heard the gunfire at any point during his stay, which is plausible. It's possible, of course, given the motel's layout. It does have separate units and it's structured like a U. But according to law enforcement and multiple news reports, he left a note alluding to past challenges and led investigators to conclude that the death must have been a suicide. Now, what made people, and I remember seeing this build online of people who didn't like the widow, was that despite him having no drugs in the system, she then gives an interview and says that she found a cornucopia of substances like mushrooms and pills that she wasn't aware that he was taking. She said this after he committed suicide, that she found it hidden in his shoe boxes. Anyway, I'll let you take a listen to that piece of the interview that really sent some people.
I had dealt with an ex that had addiction problems, and then I realized Steven had addiction problems, and it's something that I kind of have been like, where was I involved in this? And I had to take some steps for myself to realize, like, I was able to help one, and I wish I could have been that for the other. But it's also not my job to do that. There was a moment I was with one of my really dear friends, and we were cleaning out the closet and picking out an outfit for him for the funeral. And it was a really triggering moment for me because there was a lot of things I discovered in our closet that I did not know existed. And it was very alarming to me to learn that there was so much happening that I had no clue. So it was a really scary moment in my life to figure that out. But it also helped me process that he was going through so much. And he was hiding so much, and there must have been a lot of shame in that. And he was wrestling with a lot inside himself, and he was trying to self-medicate and cope with all those feelings because he didn't want to put it on anyone. Because he loved everyone so much. He didn't want other people to take on his pain. But it was very alarming and scary to find those things and have never known.
Painting your husband as a drug addict who was found with no drugs in his system and who nobody knew had any drug habit, and just saying you were the one who found it. It's a move. It's a move. I think I said he died in 2002. I meant to say 2022. This is all very recent. And he also died without a will. She filed a petition for half of his estate. In April, a judge signed off on her request. She was granted her property passing rights as a result of the ruling. And according to California law, the surviving spouse has the right to request half of her late partner's assets if they were married at the time of their death. Twitch's mother and younger brother, however, did speak out. And they sat down with Gayle King on CBS. So this is why it was turned into a massive thing, because the family was like, she's not acting right. And I'll just, let me just say that it is true that at Charlie's actual Catholic mass burial, which was the day before the memorial event, that Erica made her own family members and everyone present sign NDAs. That's what I was told. And similarly, the same thing was done here. And this is what Twitch's family told Gayle King on CBS. Take a listen.
We were, trying to figure out what we were going to do or what she wanted to do in terms of plans. And then I got a phone call saying, we need you guys to sign non-disclosure agreements. And we were like, why? What's going on? What is this for? And she says, well, somebody in the family has sold a story to a magazine. And we were like, what are you talking about? Who did this?
Your stupid liberal
and
glasses.
She said, granddad. And that's Stephen's grandfather. And now, if you know my dad, he is the most respected, the most integrity. Would never do that. So a magazine did call him, and in the throes of grief, my father answered the phone, and they asked him
questions.
Right, and he's answering. Right, he's answering the questions, and saying we're grieving, we don't know what happened, whatever the answers were. But it was at that point that it became, you guys are doing this. We need you to sign this, and we were like, no, that is not true, and that's kind of where it started. It went,
so that's when the friction started, asking for the NDA.
It went downhill from there.
You were asked to sign an NDA to go to the funeral?
It became, if you don't sign, you will not be able to see him and you will not be able to participate.
I can tell you that she did do a book tour. She did release a book, February of 2024, a short time after. It was her story of love loss and embracing the light. And once again, she told the public that he was secretly struggling with addiction and past sexual abuse from a male figure in his life.
Always gotta badmouth him.
That is
ruin their
one thing to
reputation
put on the streets after her husband dies in a suicide. Now, members of Twitch's family said that they were blindsided by the claims that she made.
So you don't believe
she also
anything.
Released a children's book that she said that she co-authored with Twitch just before he died, and that was called "Keep Dancing Through: Boss Family Groove." I mean, 2025 in September, Connie, who is Twitch's mother, filed a petition for grandparent visitation against Allison, alleging that her relationship with her grandchildren has changed following her son's death, describing it as unilateral and retaliatory decision by the dancer. In 2026.
Big Lou says, you can tell the loony left by the way they present themselves. No shit. They ruin. I have my septum pierced. They ruined that. I'm a hairdresser, 23 years. Ruined me being able to wear different colors in my hair. Fucking bitches. Stole so much cool rock and roll shit, making it look gay as fuck.
The case was dismissed by a judge. So I guess they will just not be able to see too much of their grandparents. We'll see. But I just had to tell you this stunning story. When I found Jamora in Utah, I was just like, this is crazy. And I do see a lot of the similarities in the story. I'm not speculating anything, but I am saying that's a move. This is book publishing. It's like a formula or something. It's crazy. I will just leave it at that. We'll be right back after a break. All right, you guys,
She says, oh, okay. So then she just gets into the comment. So let me hop over and look and see what I'm supposed to be doing on my breaks. Do you nobody nothing? I don't have. Are they not letting me do? Why are they not letting me do my ad reads? I don't know what's going on. It hasn't let me do my ad reads in the last couple shows. I don't know why. But I would prefer it not to do that. I don't like my money getting interfered with. That's faux show. As far as I'm concerned, Jack, they didn't take shit. Oops, wrong one. That's what Jack said. God gave us that damn rainbow, and it's staying that way. It's staying that way. I don't know what Fishback said, but I'm sure it was off the chain because Fishback be fishbacking. All right, the next one I wanted to show you was this one.
All right, you guys, happy. You know, I have a few questions that just sort of linger in the back of my mind. One this morning that I came up with, I was going, for 33 hours, 33 to be exact, 33. There was this manhunt for Charlie Kirk's alleged killers. And the feds, during this manhunt, chose to release an extremely blurry still image of a man in a stairwell. It's very blurry. Why? why didn't they release the much clearer footage that we eventually saw in court? They had access to that. They didn't say that they needed to do anything to bring that footage up. Why release something grainy if you can release something clearer? Why?
Oh, really? Post the link. I'll play it in the show right now.
Reduce the quality. Again, that seems to be a theme, that they're just intentionally degrading the quality of footage. And the question is why? Who does that ultimately help? And another question that's on my mind this morning is, why was Zachariah Qureshi initially arrested by local police and feds, and then he was released? That seems like quite a big mistake for them to have made. What did they see? What was captured on camera or otherwise? What evidence did they have? Maybe it was a scent, the dog was chasing, I don't know. That the local police decided to go to Zachariah Qureshi's apartment in Provo, whereupon he was then brought in and interrogated by the feds and then released. Are we common sense people supposed to believe that that was just bad luck? There's only 2 people that were detained. The first was George Zinn. We know why. Obviously, he said, I did it. It's a good reason to detain someone. I did it. Okay, we're going to detain you. The second was Zachariah Qureshi, and they just let it go. They let the error go. We got no explanation. I think we deserve one. And of all the people they happened to select, this kid who has got a father who's a career military man who owns and operates a military app tied to operations, tied to Fort Huachuca, got a bunch of money from the DOD. I'd just like to know more about that. How was that mistake made? That'd be great if we could follow up on it. Anyway, speaking of military men, last week we played for you an exclusive audio from the only person who managed to capture footage of the alleged gunman on Losi Center rooftop before the sound of the shot goes off, right? He recorded the individual on his iPhone. He then reported what he saw to police dutifully. And he was very clear. He said that the person looked to him like it was professional. Remember that? He said a person with some sort of military tactical training seemed to be dressed in tactical wear. Particularly, he referenced this military crawl that stood out to him as something that requires military training. Okay. And he would know. He would know. Strangely, they didn't contact him. They weren't curious for him to testify. The prosecution wasn't interested. The defense, I guess at this stage, was preliminary hearing, was not interested. And also, we never saw any of that sort of footage in court. You're saying he did some military crawl. How's that possible? How's it possible that we didn't see that? Oh, I know how it's possible, because we're dealing with the feds. No, we can't rely on the feds. We got that. Tell us the truth. And of course, if they did capture him doing that, that wouldn't exactly help their narrative, right? Tyler's supposed to be some scrub kid who woke up one day, actually kind of an academic genius, and just had to take the shot for his lover, even though they never discussed politics and they never discussed Charlie Kirk.
Right. Lance Twiggs testified in court that they never discussed politics and they never discussed gayness. Like, yeah, okay. Okay. I thought you were supposed to be the character of Robinson's lover, trans lover.
In particular, and they never discussed LGBTQ issues. This morning, he woke up and he was just like, yeah, I need a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and then I'm going to go do the impossible.
Party, bro. Let's do it.
But I also told you this earlier on. I said there are good people in government. There are good people who work all across the local police precincts in Utah, good people in our federal investigation and in our federal bureaus who participated in this investigation initially, who answered the call, who responded on September 10th. There is, in fact, an underground movement for Charlie that has been built over these last 10 months, and it is how we have been able to release so much information.
That's what I try to tell my daughters, Big Lou. If fucking especially my oldest, if words hurt your feelings, you're in for a rough ride. Because life don't give a fuck about how you feel about anything. Because how you feel about things is just happening inside of you and nothing else and nowhere else.
To get so much exclusive information, exclusive footage, exclusive photos to help us string together what actually did take place on that day. And there was something in particular that I will tell you that I've been holding on to since October, in part because I needed to protect my government sources. Obviously, they're in government. It is risky for them to be communicating with me at all. But more importantly, because I needed to see who the liars are, who lie about everything.
Right.
I have to wait.
She's no idiot.
See. I didn't know who to trust. I was also grieving. And I was told that at the preliminary hearing, they would be forthcoming about anything and everything that they had. I was told that actually by Erica. And I just kept thinking to myself, a military call on a rooftop would be very relevant, right? I told you that's back even when I first had that conversation with my source. He said, yeah, that's what I saw. I thought, well, they obviously can't keep that from the public. They can't just keep gaslighting the public about that information. Well, we have certainly something to show you. Now, before we get into the video, let me just show you where it starts out. Let's just consider where we're at in the narrative. We are told that someone who was wearing skinny jeans, right, decided to essentially crip walk on the gun onto the Losey rooftop. Okay, sounds made
crip
up
walk.
given the jeans that he was wearing, but let's just take that at Fed value. Okay, here are the jeans he's wearing. Tyler's 5'10". The gun is minimum 3 foot 6 inches, fully assembled. We can see his phone in his right pocket. It doesn't pass the sniff test, right? That should come up past Tyler's 5'10" belly, in theory.
Right, true.
It's not what I'm seeing.
That doesn't even look like
Let's just jump
Tyler,
back
by the way. I think we're stupid.
Into the narrative as it's been spun to us, because then we know he gets onto the rooftop. And I just am wondering now, how does the gun get out of his skinny jeans at that point? Anybody?
Right.
Skinny jeans are designed so that the bottom of the jeans are tight, skinnier by the ankle. Did he wiggle it out of the bottom? Or did he pull down his pants real quick on the rooftop and get it out this way? We don't know. But what we do know is that once he hits that rooftop, he is suddenly able to sprint. And this limp that he has in the footage is completely removed. So let's watch that.
Yeah, clear.
Okay. Now, what happens next is exactly as my source stipulated. Our rooftop guy begins a tactical crawl. It's actually known in the military as a lateral crawl. Let's watch that.
She's definitely doing her research, because that is true. That is a lateral crawl. That's right.
There he goes.
Yeah.
And I actually do want to show you side by side so you can actually see a real military man do that alongside this person on the rooftop. Let's bring in that side by side clip. Here we go. That general action right there is known as a lateral crawl. Now, you may have noted, if you're just looking at your eyes, some sort of a flash that just took place, right? We're going to show you that slowed down and just kind of discuss this. We've gone back and forth here. What is that? Is he pulling something out? Is it like a signal mirror? Is it a flag? Was it already on Losey Center? Is it actually something that's in the background that's just catching weird? Is it a car? And we're just thinking that we see this flash, but we're just going to show you that so that it's clear. Back and forth flash there while he's military crawling. Here we go. There, and we're running that back and forth there. Okay, so you now have that. Next up, what you are going to see is that it's going to look as though, as he gets into position and completes this lateral crawl, that he thrusts something forward in a way that my brain told me it looked like he was unfolding a gun. Truly, that's what my brain told me. Maybe it's because I had this guy and told me about how full they are. I don't know. It's not definitive. That's me narrating. I'm happy for people to disagree and debate what is seen. But let's just watch that portion here.
So it's going to be right here.
There we go. Something forward. And we can watch that again. Something forward.
To me, it looks like those hard cases that guns can be in that is just flipping open. It could be a foldable gun. I don't know. I don't know, but definitely something is being flipped open. So where did it come from? How is that hidden in pants? Where's the clip between him in the stairwell to being on the roof? Like, where did this thing come from? This folding thing is a great point of conjecture to question, for sure.
But more importantly than what we see here is what we're not going to see here. So remember, this is supposed to be a German 98 Mauser family heirloom gun used during World War I and World War II. That'll effectively take
great guns.
Your shoulder out when it's fired.
Does have a very serious recoil.
In the newer models, if you go watch people shooting, they're like, oh, my shoulder. And if you're looking through a scope, as he allegedly was, you might even expect a black eye. You will recall
if the recoil's
that
bad
the
enough
guy
and
who recorded the footage specifically
if you're
said,
not used to shooting
told us
it, maybe
that he saw no
never
recoil.
shot it before.
That's pretty crucial. He just saw the guy get up and run. And that would be, I would argue, or a lawyer in court, that would be impossible
too,
for this specific naked model of gun. So let's watch and see if we, with our eyes, can observe some sort of a kickback. And again, I have to apologize. This is not like Benny Johnson 4K footage, but it's at least clear enough here on your screen that you would be able to discern a strong kickback on a gun from somebody who's just laying down taking a shot. So I'm going to let this run. It's about 50 seconds. And you just let me know if at any point you see that before he gets up and breaks into a sprint. Take a look. There you go. That's that unfolding again. And by the way, if you are listening to this in audio, this is one of these episodes that you actually do have to go watch. So you will have to pivot over to YouTube, to Spotify, somewhere that provides
Candace.
video, because this is not something that we could just produce on an audio podcast here, unfortunately. But this is going to run. We did have to obviously zoom in and push out those fed timestamps, but see here, we have 10 more seconds here. Okay, he is up.
Knock it off.
Anybody? Anybody see a recoil?
No.
I didn't see one, but let's actually put that footage all together uninterrupted. Here we go for you guys to watch. Here he comes running on to the rooftop. What we know definitively is he gets down into what is known as a lateral military crawl. He begins that crawl over to the right first, and then to the left. We see a quick flash. We are not sure what that flash is. Actually, this looks like, I'm not going to read into it. There's that throw forward. I say fold forward. You can say throw forward, but that's definitely something being flung forward, getting into position. And here we wait for what we expect to be some sort of a kickback. This must have been when our source began recording from the side of a low-C building and said, I just saw someone get up there. He's got a gun. And he's up. And he's gone. What do you guys think? I should just jump into this chat and see. Where are my gun experts? What do you guys think?
That's right. I think too.
Something feels not right.
Right.
Something doesn't feel right. That feels to me like what the witness said. That person looks like they've got training. It's not giving Tyler Robinson to me.
No, I agree.
But what do I know? I'm not an expert. Like that just feels. And then he's gonna jump off of the rooftop like Spider-Man, uninjured, and he's gonna run off.
Gay.
And he's just gonna be hungry, more hungry. Beyond like did Chick-fil-A do that? What did he order at Chick-fil-A?
Right.
You guys let me know what you think. But we're not done.
Super.
As I told you guys a while ago about this non-smoking gun. Let's revisit what I told you. This non-smoking gun, by the way, which, as we saw in the preliminary hearing, it had dust in the barrel indicating non-usage, which featured Tyler Robinson's fingerprints, which, if you need reminding, were described as the most degraded prints per the ATF testimony among all the prints.
So just so you know, forensically, that means that his prints were probably likely the first prints on the gun. So those were the most degraded because they were the oldest, meaning the other four males' DNA and the other four males' prints were laid on top of Tyler's DNA, and it got brushed away the most.
His were the most degraded amongst 5 other sets of prints on this gun. How is that possible? How is that possible unless somebody planted his gun? Now, we told you the story of how this gun was located, and I do want to clarify it because I think there's been some confusion online. People who are going, no, the canines were brought down into the amphitheater, and we can see that the bomb dogs were there. Let me clarify what I said in the beginning. Dogs, there were bomb dogs that were bought, there were canines that were bought, then there's just like the canine unit, which has bomb dogs, and you don't know what level of training certain dogs have. The dogs that were brought to Losi Center, right, where the person jumped off, were given a scent to go chase. So let's say I give them Candace's shirt, and I say, go find Candace now. They were allowed to run amok near the amphitheater looking for Candace. But of course, if that person wasn't down there, that's a wild goose chase. That's a wild goose chase. And these are unbelievably trained dogs. I'm not going to say, hey, I don't smell Candace, but I do smell some lasagna. It's like these dogs were sent to go chase a scent. Now, I told you that the other dog, there were actually 2 dogs, were actually looking for explosives. They are the ones that went near the field where the gun was actually found and came up empty. And until these rookie officers, the feds get there and they tell the rookie officers to have another search, and lo and behold, the rookie officers find the gun. That bomb dog's name, so I believe Loki, people found online, Loki, who was near the amphitheater, was given the scent. That bomb dog, who was not given a scent and was searching the field, I am told that is Freya. That's her name. I like these Nordic names. You've got Loki, and then you've got Freya up by the field. Freya was the bomb dog, I am told. She's the one who had a broken nose that day. It just wasn't working. And that's lucky for Tyler Robinson because
broken
didn't he
nose.
Totally and legitimately just happened to text that was one of his concerns for Lance. Actually, it was one of his hopes to Lance. The text is really amazing. We should read it. Tyler Robinson wrote, when I checked the area about 3 hours ago, there was an officer with a canine walking nearby the area. I'm hoping that pooch has a bad sniffer. That's what the Gen Z kids are saying that day, hoping the pooches have bad sniffers. Sounds like someone's new to the English language, but this is Tyler's very formal. And yeah, it turns out Freya the bomb, lucky him, was the pooch who had a bad sniffer. Actually, let me say allegedly here, because we know with my luck, I'll be the first person to be sued, first by a sitting president of a foreign nation, and then like a literal female dog at the same time. The dog will be like, you said I had a bad sniffer, and Trump will root the lawsuit on Truth Social. I hope Freya bankrupts you. Real America first stuff, Trump. But I digress back to our storyline. Freya just allegedly could not sniff this recently fired weapon out in the field. And so the feds got there, and one of the feds instructed these 2 rookie cops who literally were brand new and said, just go look again where Freya had failed. And lo and behold, a gun. Who were those rookie cops? Might be relevant. I've been given 2 names. I've had these names for a long time. And one of them had only just graduated from UVU. I'm not kidding. Talk about beginner's luck. I'm told Mitchell Curtis of Pleasant Grove.
Look at that,
Police,
a haircut.
2025 graduate, very young buck. He finds this gun in UVU's backyard. He deserves a promotion.
She said young buck.
But you know, the most interesting thing about Mitchell Curtis is not actually his background, it's his father's. Because I was told his dad's a Fed. I said, what? No way. What are the chances?
Way.
And it was really actually challenging to determine who his father was. But by golly, we were able to do it thanks to the help of some sleuths. His father's name is Foster Curtis. Foster lives in Virginia. Foster spent 21 years with NCIS, starting as a special agent and working his way up the ladder, ending up as the division chief in the Office of Inspector General. Now, in case you don't know what NCIS is, yes, it's like the TV show. It's like the TV show. It stands for the Naval Criminal Investigative Services. NCIS agents are armed federal law enforcement investigators who frequently coordinate with other U.S. government agencies. They have a presence in more than 41 countries and on U.S. Navy vessels. Big deal. 1/2 of their personnel are civilians. They are tasked primarily, the NCIS, with investigating major criminal activities that involve the Navy and the Marine Corps. So, for example, let's say, hypothetically speaking, you thought there was an assassination which may have been plotted and planned and executed by our military. This would be the office that would be in charge of that investigation. 21 years, Foster, chief at the top. Then the strange thing happened on June 2nd, 2025. Foster Curtis, after 21 years, decided to leave his position as a division chief and to be Richmond, Virginia's interim inspector general. So he goes local. After a long federal career, he goes local. Richmond, Virginia just fires the inspector general who was there, James Osuna, who had been in that position for 6 years. It was actually very controversial. They didn't understand why this was happening. Again, this is in June 2025. The local news was going, why? What happened here? They were told, quote, no comments will be made on personnel matters. And NDAs were signed. Unusually, the local news noted this is unusual. Never seen this before. So remarkably, guys, we can, that spreadsheet, the tree of brand new that just keeps growing. We can now add Mitch and Foster. Foster, his dad, being the first one that we can say the demotion was brand new. 21 solid years working for the feds. And then you just get this, I would say it's a demotion. You kind of want to work for the Fed. I imagine the pay's better for federal government. But a couple of months later, his son finds this gun. It's incredible. It's all just so amazing how many new faces we had, so many things that were changed, people brought in Utah, and the luck of all of these new people. Biggest assassination since JFK. So, I guess congratulations are in order to the rookie cop and everybody involved. Yeah. Anyway, we should take a brief break before I tell you something else that kind of surprised me about the NCIS. First month subscription. People in the comments noting they didn't see a muzzle flash. They didn't see a kickback. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know guns. I don't know guns like these other people. But everything was just a little different. And I don't know. That's the Fed slop narrative. I don't know. Where you should feel overwhelmed by the evidence Tyler Robinson did this. Are you? Or is everybody okay? I should be expecting people right now to just be submerged and going, oh, this is definitely Tyler Robinson. We're just going to have to learn also where he learned military tactical moves and just what he ordered at Chick-fil-A. That will haunt me for the rest of my life. I think it was their spicy chicken sandwich. I like the spicy chicken. Something turned him into that. Now back to the NCIS, because I gotta be honest, I was thinking in my head, like, wow, these people, I guess that's why it probably has this very popular long-running show. It's a pretty powerful investigative unit, federal units. I didn't realize they were present in that many countries. They had used plainclothes civilians. I wasn't sure, actually, who the NCIS reports to directly. I'm thinking, is it like Pete Hegseth? I look it up, and it's actually, the Secretary of Navy. So I was wondering,
Q says, what happened to the Erica pregnancy? Erica said she wished and was hoping that she would be pregnant. She had to come out and say, no, I said I wished, I was hoping I was pregnant.
2025, when this was going on, who was the Secretary of the Navy. And it turns out that Trump appointed a guy with literally zero military experience into that position. Crucial position, the Secretary of the Navy. Having zero military background or experience is just on its face wild. So he appoints this guy, John C. Phelan, and his whole background is in banking. Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, then runs his own shop. And I'm just confused, like, why would Trump do this? What qualifies him? Well, it's Trump. He likes money, right? So Don, he's extraordinarily wealthy on top of everything, but also, crucially, he helped Trump raise a ton of money ahead of his second term by hosting this private fundraiser for Trump in Aspen, which featured billionaire guests like Steve Wynn in attendance, and they all sort of cut Trump these big checks. So this is sort of how DC works, right? You get me into office. When I get into office, I'm going to do you a solid and appoint you into a position which people at the time said he's not qualified for. Anyway, I just was kind of going through his Wikipedia, so no deep research here by any means. But I did see, it just jumped out at me, was this bizarre sub-tab regarding Jeffrey Epstein. I kid you not. I can't. I gotta shave my head. Like I'm feeling like Britney Spears. Like, it can't always just be like this random Epstein thing. Anyways, let's pull it up together because I can't make this stuff up, right? And here's what it tells us. Hopefully I can read this. My vision always gets super bad when I'm pregnant. It gets worse as I get pregnant. But like you can see that tab, relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, just a tab I never want. On Wikipedia, you guys say a lot of mean stuff about me, but thank you. Like, you can miss me with this tab. So it says passenger manifests that were released as part of the Epstein files indicate that Phelan flew twice on the plane of Jeffrey Epstein several months before Epstein's first arrest on sex charges. The first flight took place on February 27, 2006, from New York's JFK International Airport to London's Luton Airport. The manifest for the second flight from London to New York on March 3, 2006 indicates that Phelan flew with 12 other passengers, including Epstein, modeling agent and Epstein associate Jean-Luc Brunel. France, you haunt me. And 6 people whose names are redacted on the version of the manifest that was released in October 2025 by the United States House Committee, the one that Trump fought not to have released. Jean-Luc Brunel, that jogging memory, he's the second one who probably didn't kill himself, but did end up hung in a prison. His French disgusting partner who Jeffrey Epstein invested in his modeling business, and Jean-Luc Brunel sent Jeffrey Epstein, I think, is it 8-year-old triplets for his birthday? Maybe they were 10 years old triplets for his birthday. I mean, really disgusting stuff. And I had told you this Jean-Luc Brunel character also happened to be one of the founders of that firm that was run by Faith Cates, that the people who worked for Faith Cates remember Erica. They remember Erica Kirk. Well, Erica Franz-Faye, with the suits, involved with the suits. They allege managing modeling apartments. We went out to Erica for comment, something that I would instantly want to remove myself from and say, no, that's absolutely not true. They are certain it is true. And we got nothing. Jean-Luc Brunel. I don't know. I just feel like this keeps happening. It just feels to me like this keeps happening. When we look at the state of things in America right now, we know that everything that went sideways with Trump went sideways after he looked us in the eye and pretended the Epstein files were nothing. Are we still talking about the Epstein files? He thought himself a king that could just mandate us to forget it. That was obviously the day that I made it clear I was done. I'm not meeting you halfway, not when it comes to allegations and proven instances of pedophilia. And the fight to push out Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna pulled together, left and right came together, and we're like, no, what is in these files? Like, children are being harmed. We have people who are promoting and celebrating people who harm children, protecting people who harm children. We have Bibi Netanyahu in DC right now. And it sickens me. It actually sickens me. And this is a perfect time to discuss the reason that the Iranian propaganda, I don't know if propaganda means it's untrue or just that they're propagating their vision, because it certainly is not untrue, has been going viral. These Lego videos, you've seen the Lego videos on X, you've seen them on Instagram, people are sharing them. And there's a reason why these videos are resonating with Americans, because we feel like we have lost our country so that Trump can protect the elites, particularly Israel, particularly Jeffrey Epstein and his entire network. It seems Trump has completely abandoned and forgotten the American people so long as he can protect the Epstein network. And by any objective metric, these videos that they are creating are fantastic depictions of how people feel. It reminds me of when Trump had an artist that was making paintings about the forgotten American. They tapped into how Americans were feeling in the flyover states. The reason why people put Trump into office, the reason why I backed Trump. Somebody who...
it is what it is. Bite me. We'll be right back after these messages, friends. Stop making noise. Access Med, powered by Trinova Health, is a revolutionary telehealth service that offers fast, free online evaluations and free home delivery of customized compounded medications, offering custom weight loss support, ivermectin therapy, hair restoration, cosmetic rejuvenation, custom ED treatments, and more. You can complete your visit in less than 10 minutes, and there's no subscriptions or recurring fees ever. We've made getting started easier than ever. Simply follow the link, choose the product or treatment you're interested in, and then complete a quick online evaluation. Within days, your custom meds will arrive to your door. Mention Rumble in the coupon code and get 10% off your first treatment. All right, we are back.
Of course, people, we always know he had been bombastic, but we thought, oh, it's going to take somebody who's bombastic and somebody who is not institutional.
Hi, JC.
Somebody who's on the outside to stand up and call these things out. Who is Trump now? What is Trump now? What is the Trump family now? No interest in the Charlie Kirk assassination. Why is that? Why is that? I'd like a Don Trump Jr. actually has been heading into the courthouse with Erica. He knows guns. I would love a comment from him on that video. What do you think? German Mauser 98. No flash, no kickback. What do you think, Don? Did you see video in 4K? Did you see that video in 4K? The reason why these videos are going viral is because they, like I said, contain this kernel of truth. And that is when art works, so to speak, because you feel it and you go, yeah, this is how we've been betrayed by Trump. And also on its face, it appears like what we've stumbled upon is a global trafficking ring, which spans all across the West.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I've hit on in my Brigitte Macron series. I've been hitting on this, talking about Epstein and MKUltra. Like all of this kind of seems to be converging, and people are waking up. Mm-hmm. And this slop that they're trying to feed us, go to war, Iran bad, Israel good, isn't working. There was an organic response to these Lego videos because of how we feel left and right, even trying to the left and this, the right. We're not even taking that slop anymore. So they dropped another video last night, and I thought it couldn't be more timely. And I'm actually going to just let you guys watch this full screen, the Lego video.
It's great.
Dropped by Iran.
It's great. I actually love this.
Hey, your empire is done. You started the war, you thought you would win. Now look at the mess that your country is in. Look at it. Your general's crying, your plan was a bust. The promises made are now turning to dust. Marco Rubio was sweating, he's grilled on the floor. They asked for the billions you wasted on war. You lied from day one, you keep capping a lot. But look at the straight, yeah, we got it on lock. Lock down. You're begging for mercy, you're begging for peace. While telling your media Iran wants to cease. You sure? You're losing the straight, you're losing the state. And now the whole public is drowning in hate. You told, stop talking about Epstein. Now listen to the crowd. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Louder! Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Don't stop talking about Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Louder! Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. You lied about Iran, said Navy is gone. You promised regime change from darkness to dawn. You're dreaming, your beautiful B-2s were flying so high, still shaking inside. You're about to cry. You stood on the stage, looking completely detached, saying, I don't care about voters, it's cash. Did he really say that? Yeah, he did. You care about ballrooms, luxury suites, while American families starve on the streets. Inflation is peaking, the economy's dead, but you worry about Israel instead. The corruption is deep, AIPAC's buying the state. Every politician's got a price on their plate. You're all just puppets dancing for funds, while Iran is standing and holding the guns. You're losing the straight, you're losing the state. And now the whole public is drowning in hate. You told, stop talking about Epstein. Now listen to the crowd.
Right, listen to the motherfucking crowd.
Don't stop talking about.
Actually, Bam, you are probably the only one over on YouTube. I'm streaming on Rumble where I have like 30 people commenting in the chat. So you just can't see all these other comments from Rumble. But yeah. Definitely, yeah.
You called yourself a king, but you're just a BJ queen. The biggest disaster the White House has seen. Your empire is done, 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 done,
Savage.
You go fix your ballroom.
Stuck in my head all day. Watched it like 12 times. Epstein, 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 louder. It's like, that was it. They were just, you're not allowed to talk about Epstein. And I'm like, no, Epstein, like we're waking up to something bigger here that is happening. Right. And evil has been plotting for a very long time. We've all been asleep. We've all been playing the games. We are all guilty of this. We are all guilty, left and right, of falling for the slop. And that was the test with the Tyler Robinson case. Immediately, the left did this. It was about transgenderism. Look at the last question that was asked. That was it. Charlie was targeted because of his views on transgenderism. No evidence. Just don't look deeper than that. Accept this. They murdered Charlie, and then also being interjected with the Christianese slop. Grieving widow, pastors in ripped jeans, telling you about what's demonic. Like a military operation, a military psyop, these mega pastors. We start looking into that. Wow, how many of them have been like reformed pedos? We did that episode looking at the Calvary Chapel Church in particular. You remember a while ago. What is this? Why are they all so gung-ho about Israel? All of them. That's what it is. Sweet nothings. Stay dumb. Keep getting poisoned. Don't you love Trump? You're betraying Trump. You're betraying Charlie by looking into this further. You know, this is what Charlie would want. My Charlie, my Charlie, my Charlie. Yeah. Well, we're awake now, and there is too many of us. There's too many of us, right. And we're all back channeling and sharing information. So it's like a game of whack-a-mole now. Yeah. And I do believe Charlie found out something when he looked into his organization and wanted to know where the money was coming from and where it was going to.
Yeah, because when I ran for Congress, the Jewish attorney was like, no, you don't need to know where your donations are coming from. We'll handle all that. You don't need the login. I was like, fuck that. No.
Doge on it, which, well, the new leader of Turning Point USA obviously canceled. She feels good about it. Yeah, not interested. Not as interested, or maybe doesn't obviously possess the intellect that Charlie possessed. What did Charlie find out in his last days? I don't know that we'll find out. I think maybe we will. Anyway, last thing I wanted to show you this was because one of you guys in the comments yesterday commented when I was saying I never know what Erica's saying. It's like watching the Kamala campaign. It's just going in circles. One of you guys wrote this comment. My favorite quote from Erica is when she tells us to be a table. I was like, what? Did that happen? And just sure enough, we were able to find the clip where she tells people to be a table. It's very funny. Take a look at this.
That means when you're tabling, if your table keeps getting destroyed, become a roving table yourself.
Become a roving table yourself.
Go sit with people at lunch you don't normally sit with. Be creative with the ways that you are a chapter leader, because you are a leader. You are not a follower.
Listen to her trying to sound
a roving table, I guess, or whatever. We got to start catching these like we used to do with Kamala stuff of just, what did she just say? Because it's just fun. All right, you guys, we'll be right back after a brief break.
All right. That's the end of that. I will show you next week the remaining videos on her that I want to highlight on her list here on her of. You can go to her page, look at her live, start following if you haven't been following her investigation, I highly encourage you to do so. But thank you so much for hanging with me tonight. This is the end of the road for me tonight. It's been fun. As it always is. I love that you guys are always helping bring the energy to my show, bring the hype, bring the conversation. It's always good. It's always good. I gotta get my outro song uploaded. I gotta get my outro screen uploaded because lately I've been showing you the intro screen and the intro song at my outro, but I like it better than nothing. Anyway, without further ado, I bid you all good night.
I'm not your gossip girl, I'm the headline. Truth with a curve, baby, redefine. Welcome to the thirst trap. All the truth looks good in a tight wrap. We talk love, power, soul, and sin. Turn the world on, let the light in. Yeah, the thirst trap news. You'll drink it up, it's the real you. Never try it, first real news. Where every headline's a revelation.
The helipad will be near the South Portico, the traditional landing site for Marine One, and the call sign for whichever helicopter is being used to transport the president. The project is intended to address a long-running problem. The new generation of Marine One helicopters runs the risk of burning the lawn. Real Luna low